These gentlemen over here made it quite clear the other night we didn't have a say. We have no right to tell you how to spend our taxpayer money no matter what the cost. And let me just say, as an attorney for 10 years, I've done criminal defense. Majority of my criminal defense is court appointed. And if I hear one more time how we're going to give them a house and a check and money and they're not going to commit crime, I'm going to vomit. Every day I'm in the courthouse, I represent court-appointed indigent clients who have a free place to stay, who get food stamps, who do not work. They live off our dime, and they still commit crime. I love the Constitution. That's why I do criminal defense. But don't tell me just because we're going to put in my house they're not going to commit crime, or that I don't represent homeless people every day committing crime. They do. So I appreciate if you would actually tell the truth about that matter, and I would urge you to vote no.
I am a retired Air Force full colonel, spent 28 years on active duty, and I have lived in Knox County since 1995. My first 2 years of active duty were with the United States Marine Corps, enlisted. I learned 3 very important lessons there. First of all, I did not like mud and mosquitoes, and that's why I switched to the Air Force for the next 26 years. But secondly, I learned that honesty and integrity can never be compromised. And thirdly, I learned that for a mission to be accomplished, the leader must have the trust of the people he is leading. It takes a while to build this trust, but you can destroy it in a heartbeat. I'll now focus the rest of my comments on this trust issue. At the information meeting last week, I had the privilege of being the first citizen to ask questions following the presentation. I asked 2 simple and direct questions. For the record, I asked that the citizens be provided with the criteria that were being used for site selection, and then I asked for the identification of the alternative sites that were considered and their evaluation. Both of these questions are fundamental to assessing whether or not any proposed site is in fact the best site. The only answer that was given was that the information I requested could not and would not be made public. This immediately raises the specter of smoke and mirrors and snake oil salesmen and does nothing to build trust. I would like to believe that the Permanent Supportive Housing Program is the appropriate solution to Knox County's chronic homeless. I understand the architecture calls for a distributed program with smaller units in a large number of neighborhoods, distributed throughout the county to avoid the issues of large complexes. But the simple arithmetic associated with the 400 to 800 chronic homeless indicates that we are going to need 16 to maybe as many as 32 site locations. Total cost, 18, 25, $30 million. Federal funds, with additional funds coming from the community for the logistics support of those facilities. Consequently, I believe it is essential that all proposed locations be identified up front, along with the alternative sites that were considered and not selected, so that the citizens can see what the proposed locations are and that they are, in fact, the best locations. It is my understanding that it is the program's goal to provide homes for the chronically homeless. I would submit that unless the locations are accepted by the immediate neighborhoods, then the residents will never be part of that community, and they will not be removed from the chronically homeless rolls. It is clear to me that the citizens attending last week's meeting were not convinced that this location is the best location in District 5. It is also clear to me, gentlemen, that this part of Knox County's government has lost the trust of its citizens. If a good salesman can sell a refrigerator to an Eskimo, and they do have Eskimo refrigerators, it should not be an impossible task for the Permanent Supportive Housing Team to sell this project to the citizens. But it will require open and transparent and fully accountable processes. At this time, I have no reason to believe that the site selection process was thorough. I've done a cursory review of the Knox GIS database, and I have found other properties with suitable locations in District 5 that, as far as I know, were not even considered. I would ask that the Commission terminate this particular piecemeal approach to the program and develop an open, integrated solution identifying all proposed locations in Knox County. While it is true that an elephant is easier to eat one piece at a time, gentlemen, ladies, I want to make sure it's an elephant that I'm eating. Thank you very much, sir.
I just want to make a few comments real quick. First, I'm not against helping people who are homeless, but I do have to question the site. I know a lot of the people to the left here said they had full faith in the criteria that was used to pick out the site. I have some questions. Nothing against you individuals. However, it is a dead-end street, and having a neighbor who has had chronic problems with drugs and alcohol, I turn to her for advice since I have never had those problems, and hopefully, God bless, never will. Again, it's a dead-end street. The first building that these people will be forced to walk by every day is an alcohol store, either leaving the premises or coming home. I would think being on a dead-end street with a liquor establishment on the corner would be, for these individuals who are chronically homeless due to drugs and alcohol, would perhaps exclude that criteria alone. Certainly, we would not house sex addicts next to a store that sold pornography or a strip club. It just seems to be common sense. The second thing I will ask is, these are 23 individuals. One thing that certainly happens with any program that is implemented, be it through government or through privately owned entities, is unintended consequences. I know there's been talk about the daycare and the liquor store and even the lot itself. My child goes to Kitty Cottage 3 for all full disclosure, which is not the establishment which is in question. I can say, however, had he gone to Kitty Cottage 2, I certainly would pull my child from the facility. And I have to question how many other parents will do the same once this is passed. I moved from New York and New Jersey to Knoxville, Tennessee. I could have moved anywhere in the country. I chose the great state of Tennessee because I thought it was a great place to live. Within Tennessee, I could have moved to Knoxville, Nashville, and Memphis. After touring all three of them, I chose Knoxville. Obviously, I could have chosen east, west, north, or south. I chose West Knoxville due to its great community, as well as just the feel I thought it was a good place to raise my kids. I would certainly say that many parents will pull their kids from this facility, so you'll be helping 23 individuals who desperately need help, and I don't doubt that we should help them. But you will certainly then be putting at least 20 people out of a job. People who probably live paycheck to paycheck, don't make as good of a living as I, and could not afford to lose their jobs even for a week or a month. I beg of you to bear that in mind as well, and please vote no for this. Thank you all very much.